Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games. As always, we'll start with some EVE Online, and I actually played a little bit less than average EVE Online because I've been focusing on some other games as well. But the time that I've spent there I think has been decently productive. I especially did some mining so that I could get some stuff into my refinery, do some compression. That is basically what I'm doing at the moment because the prices of minerals are so low that I'm not selling anything that I'm mining at the moment. I am continuing to build up my reserves. Hopefully we'll see like a big Gnostic war and increased prices, which will then hopefully create a nice opportunity for us to sell at a better price than what we're doing currently. I'm seeing that all of this stuff is getting used a decent amount as well. I'm seeing a decent amount of mining happening in the belt that's like at the center of all the co-incorporated structures, so that's quite nice, ranging from several other orcas to ventures that come in to pick their little grain of the co-incorporated setup. I actually look forward to moon mining in Dital and try to like create my own belt as the next step there. One thing that I noticed, I was planning to put the refineries on like a visible moon in the background, and it actually turns out that those are like moving. So we'll have to see how that works out. I'm not exactly sure what the effect is going to be of placing the refinery on a moon that actually moves in the background. It could be very cool. So we'll see how that works out. Next to that, I also did some blueprint copy stuff that's been going really well actually. The price of the blueprint copies for the refineries has gone up, including the price for the blueprint copy of the large refinery, which I sold for more than my first two, like 650 million or 690. Not exactly sure what it was anymore. But there seems to be a lot of demand to get refineries up and running. I'm hoping that this continues, and I in fact hope that there'll be basically a point of contest on in Nosik quite often, especially in wars, so that hopefully they'll have to replace those decently often, and I'll be able to ask a nice price for those blueprint copies. Next to that, a little bit more on PI, but just basically keeping my extractions up and running. Everything else is fully automated, and of course we are waiting for the December release where the alpha clones are going to get a nice update. But next to that, we don't have that much new stuff to report in EVE Online. Next up we have some Diablo 3, so season 12 of Diablo 3 was started last week, late last week I think, and I played a decent amount of that. In fact, I think that was my most played game. I chose a wizard, and the wizard set was not exactly one that I like too much. It's the Veer set that is focused around Archon, which is an ability on an extremely long cooldown. And so what I really had to do in order to start enjoying that wizard build was to go for lots and lots of cooldown reduction, so that I could basically stay in Archon for like 80 or 90% of the time that I was fighting, especially doing rifts of course. But I spent a decent amount of time in that, I think around 30 hours total, and I managed to basically finish the first four storylines, well, it's not storylines, but first four parts of the season, which gets you basically the rewards, which are very nice wings, looks absolutely amazing. And it became quite enjoyable when my cooldown reduction came close to like 60%. Also had a nice weapon that occasionally would drop the cooldown by 8 seconds, and as a result, yeah, it's a massive damage boost that you get, of course, in Archon. The set is built around that, and then it is lots of fun to just zip around with teleport and blow everything up with AoE attacks there. So it's actually been a very enjoyable experience this season. I felt like, well, choosing the wizard, in the end it worked out. At first I went with my regular build. I like to go incinerate and then have hydras and buff myself up with damage through some passive abilities. That's how I basically leveled up. It's my standard go-to build, which works very well with Tal Rasha, but then of course I had to switch it up quite substantially in order to make everything work with Veers. But as I've said, once I got that cooldown reduction up and running to like 60%, it was actually quite fun to play with that build as well. And so I finished season 12 of Diablo 3. That's where I was going, yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll do another class, but I never really felt the urge to do that. You know, get 1 week out of a season, something like 20 to 30 hours for me is absolutely fine. We'll see what my next project is actually going to be. After that, of course, we have some Heroes of the Storm, which is my basically daily game at this point. I've still been playing a little bit more than just the daily quests, so that quest queue stays empty pretty much. And I did buy lots of heroes, so I took a look at it, and some of them are like only 4,000 gold, probably some of the older ones. And so I jumped in, bought as many heroes basically as I could, and now that I'm back at the lower gold, I am going to keep an eye on what types of quests that I get. So I actually plan for next week to allow the quest log to build up a little bit, to go back into the old routine where I try to finish one quest a day and try to basically finish everything with as few games as possible, and see if the play 8 games and win 3 games shows up a little bit more than when I had 30 or 40,000 gold. But in general, Heroes of the Storm for me is still quite an enjoyable experience. The fact that I'm playing a little bit more than what I just need for the daily quests, I think shows that. And it's been a mixed bag. On some days I've been doing really well, and it's of course a lot of fun when you can win those games and you can actually play the playstyle of your chosen hero, such as if you play Zagara, that you're able to be left alone a little bit, that the rest of your team knows to keep him busy on the mid lane so that you can push out like a top lane or something like that. It becomes quite fun if everything falls together, but if you start losing a couple of games in a row and they start blaming you for instance being a specialist and trying to play the specialist style, then I can get a little bit angry as well. So it's still a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to the way I'm enjoying the game. Sometimes I catch myself getting a bit heated, and then I just pull back. I say okay, that's it for today, and we'll see what the quest brings tomorrow. But overall it's been quite nice. There has been some rebalancing though, and Lily, my favorite build there, which is to go for the little dragons. You end up with a double dragon build basically, where you can give someone else a little dragon that's going to heal and do a bouncing attack. That's been completely gutted. That has been changed now. The advantage is that the little dragon will always do healing, so it's become a healing spell, but you can't really you need to be more active with other skills in order to extend the duration and to lower the cooldown. So it's completely different, and I don't think it's as viable as the previous build, where you could basically continuously upgrade the little dragon. So at first you'd give it healing, then you'd give it bouncing attacks, including on minions, which is gone now, and then at the final stage when you can give it to an ally and grab one yourself, it actually becomes a very nice little AoE healing on 2 characters. It becomes very powerful in my opinion. It was my favorite playstyle. That's completely gone, so I'll have to either find a build that I enjoy for Lily, or maybe find another support character to jump into. And then for the final game, I'm also trying to jump back into some Guild Wars 2. I'm trying to do some world versus world, but I need to basically find a reason to do that. I need a goal in order to spend more time in world versus world. So I've tried on several evenings to spend like an hour in there. It's actually been lots of fun when you can run around with your commander, or if you find someone that is obviously pretty experienced in world versus world, just follow them around. I also got an invite from like a guild squad that was running around there. That was actually decently fun, but what I'm lacking at the moment is a reason to do this. And so the problem I think is that I don't fully understand how you translate from all the world versus world rewards that you get into, for instance, a nice set of armor that you could earn that way. So I need to figure that stuff out, and that is something that's on my radar right now. I'm not sure if I'll be able to stick with it though. I'm also thinking of doing some other stuff when it comes to the next games to play. So I have several series that are running at the moment that have basically completed. So you know, you've got the ESO, you've got the Stellaris game that's actually has a very nice little twist at the end, and then the Diablo series that I'm actually bringing is my experience over the course of those 30 hours in the season 12 there. But in general, I'm looking for basically my next project to sink my teeth in. My brother is currently playing Skyrim game survival mode, which he says is quite enjoyable and actually makes the game quite long to go through because you don't have fast travel. And so yeah, I'm looking into things at the moment. I'm trying to dabble in some world versus world with Guild Wars 2. I'm just not sure if I'll be able to stick to that or if I'll jump onto something else as my focus next to EVE Online, of course, where we are keeping the refineries up and running and all of that good stuff, and then looking forward to the moon mining, of course. That's gonna be it for this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.
Still standing, barely.